Coming up Saturday, June 28th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. at Prairie Theatre Exchange's Karpyshin Theatre, an electrifying performance is set to take the stage. One that fuses hip-hop and commercial dance with the storytelling power of musical theater. It's called The Remix, and it's the latest creation from Rise Musical Theater Company, founded by Joseph Sevillo. Rise has been PTE's exchange in education company since 2021. It is dedicated to empowering emerging IBPOC artists each year. The company offers a free 2-week intensive training program, provides access and opportunity to the next generation of musical talent. This high-energy showcase will feature 10 singers and a jaw-dropping 70 dancers, working in collaboration with 10 choreographers to deliver what promises to be a thrilling performance. And joining me here in the Classic 107 studio to talk about The Remix and the work of Rise Musical Theater Company are founder Joseph Sevillo and choreographer Lee Benega. Hey, Lee and
Hello.
Joseph. Great to have you here.
Good afternoon.
So first of all, I want to start the conversation out with you, Joseph. You definitely come from a musical theater background. You are the creator of the show Mabuhay that was done by Rainbow Stage last summer. What made you want to start your own musical theater company?
Well, during around 2020, with the Black Lives Matter movement, there was a call to action for all theater companies all across North America to really address the topic of racism within their institutions. And so that wasn't necessarily on my mindset, but when I really thought about it, I thought, oh, wow, there really isn't a theater company that I've been a part of that's led by like IBPOC leaders or artists, and nor have I been in a show that was fully BIPOC. And so, in reflection, I thought, well, there's something missing in the industry. Like, if this is something that's missing, then it's probably needed, and will create more artists of color like myself to pursue an industry like this. Because like I said, I haven't been in a space where I saw the majority of people that looked like myself. So that was the main motivation for this.
Mm-hmm. And can you talk about the importance and accessibility that people of color have to musical theater and dance? Is that an issue?
I would say I could only really speak from my own experience. I grew up in a really poor family. We were in Manitoba housing, but we were able to live in the Tuxedo area in Manitoba housing. So I went to such schools as Karpyshin and Grant Park, and Grant Park had an incredible performing arts program at that time. And so I got free training there, which kind of started my dance career. Now, a lot of people in the Filipino community that, live, I don't want to necessarily typecast, but during my time, I only knew Filipinos that lived in the West End or in the North End, and most of their training was more in the hip hop dance styles because it was accessible rather than in ballet, jazz, or tap, because those were kind of certain styles that you could only get in private dance studios.
And Lee, how did you become a part of the Rise Musical Theater Company, and how has it been for you working as a choreographer with the organization?
As of right now, it's been really great. It started off with doing Rainbow Stage with Joseph as being one of his co-choreographers. And I think from there, we really built a chemistry and a connection. And when Joseph wanted to do Rise right after Rainbow Stage, he reached out to me and the other choreographer, Charlene Chua now actually, to be one of the choreographers for the hip-hop part. And from there, I think it was just really great because now I get to see a different side of not just hip hop, but other styles that can collaborate together.
Yeah. Rise has been PTE's exchange and education company since 2021. How did that collaboration come about?
So the Prairie Theatre Exchange, in reaction to the call to action for theaters, opened up their space to really any kind of group or company that was led by IBPOC or even started by. And so when that application process started, I had proposed this all-musical theater company led by IBPOC, and we were chosen to be the education residency. And that's how it became to be. Yeah.
It became part of the institution.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the 2-week intensive that you offer in collaboration with PTE? I'm going to get you both to sort of chime in on this one.
Yeah, so we started in 2021, and the Prairie Theatre Exchange has been incredibly supportive to find sponsorships through the ACU. And so they provide us with funding to basically organize the workshops. And so they usually last 2 weeks, and they're free for any. Well, it started with we were targeting IBPOC youth 16 years and up to be trained for 2 weeks in all forms of dance, vocals, and acting classes, as well as industry facts classes to kind of break in. And I'd make sure that we paid our leaders and teachers a good wage so that they were able to be supported in that front.
Right.
And many years, as we've developed, we've provided like free transportation for students that might have barriers in that regard. Even people that were hard of hearing, we provided them with the interpreters that they needed. Now we're a small company, so in the last 4 years, we've only been able to sustain for 2 weeks of free training, and we're looking for longer periods of time, but we just are constantly in need of funding. But in our 5th year now, we are presenting our first sort of showcase, the fundraiser through the Remix, and we will be doing a workshop after the summer as well.
And Lee, as a choreographer, is it intense? Are the dancers working long hours to learn things?
Well, the hip hop side of things, it's definitely intense, I would say, especially the audience member that we have that are coming from musical theater. So they're probably learning a different style as well, right? So I think it's a learning process for both of us. As a choreographer, I have to try to, be familiar with the dancers that I have that doesn't have that hip hop training, but also the dancers that we have has to adapt to a hip hop choreographer. Right. So it's like a learning process, which is really neat to see how we're all learning at the same time.
For the show, there's going to be 70 dancers on stage, 10 singers, and those people are going to be working with 10 choreographers. How have the groups been divided up to work with the different choreographers? I'm thinking mathematically, it's 7, 7, and 7, right?
So we started off handpicking and inviting 10 choreographers, my co-creator Duchess Keitana and I, just through who we knew and who we've observed through the various performing arts industries in the city. And we gave them free reign. We said, choose 6 of your dancers that will be able to tell your story as accurately and as fiercely as possible, and then we would provide them with the vocalist.
So
that's where the intersection would meet between musical theater and commercial dance, essentially.
And Lee, can you talk about some of the different dance backgrounds? I mean, you've alluded to it before. I mean, what do you do with somebody who has a hip-hop background but doesn't necessarily have a jazz background? How do you work with that in creating something that's going to be really magical on stage?
I think that part is where the choreographer or as an instructor has to really think about, as in trying to find what your dancers are strongest at or what they're comfortable at, just so you can cater to that. And I think that's where you would have to start really thinking, Kate, knowing that this dancer is more of a contemporary or more of a slower field, and I would probably work with something that's more of a slower set or something that's more manageable for them. And I think that's where I can play along with the storytelling afterwards, where I would be okay, if this is going to be a slower set and that's what they're going to be doing, then I would probably bring my storytelling in that sense.
Where did the songs come from? As a musician myself, I always think, okay, where does the music come from? And can you talk about the collaborating process of choosing music? Are you picking the songs first and then doing the choreography, or is it vice versa?
Well, again, just the concept of giving the choreographers the lead, they got to choose their own dancers based on what their concept was. And really, we just prompted them with the idea that this is your introduction to the world of theater. So through dance and this vocalist, your song should reflect who you are as an artist, who you are as a human being, or just who you are as an interpreter of music and dance. So we have all the choreographers that chose their own song, and they're all very varying styles. They range from musical theater to rap to pop to R&B. And I don't even know what we're going to see, so it'll be a surprise. I'll get to see it before everyone else, but I kind of wanted it to be an exploratory experiment of art, like this intersection that's happening.
So the remix, there's no plot or through
No.
line. It's just these set pieces done by these different groups of choreographers, dancers, and singer.
10 different acts.
Yeah, fantastic. It's been so great to have you both here. The show on the 28th, I hope, is going to be a big success. I'm going to wrap up the conversation by asking where you both see Rise Musical Theater Company in the next 10 years. What do you hope? Joseph, maybe I'll start with you
I could
as a
definitely
founder.
speak on that. I mean, just like any other huge institution out there, I see it being as big as the Royal Manchester Theatre Centre, as big as Rainbow Stage. I want a full season of musicals specifically is my passion. And I see new artists being trained under the umbrella from underserved communities, but also open to all the communities. On our fourth workshop, we just opened to everyone, because essentially that's how the world becomes better, is when we're working together and not necessarily isolating certain groups. And so I see an industry that's just more lucrative and more sustainable and more booming towards maybe groups that never necessarily have a chance, but also open to everyone that's already here striving to stay in the business of the performing arts.
And Lee, how about you as a choreographer?
Well, in the choreographer's point of view, it's just really nice for this opportunity, just because like as us choreographers or in art industry in our community, we don't really get paid for what we do. And people see our 5-minute set on stage, but they don't really get to see how many hours and how many weeks we put behind the scene. And for us, that just feels like free labor, but also it's more fulfilling to see it on stage. But now that we're given an opportunity where we're being paid for our time, we're making use of our time, it's just nice to know that this can go somewhere as like a career, or as like instead of being a hobby, it can be something that's more sustainable in the future.
And what about like the quality of dancing? Are you hoping that can sort of, one thing can lead to another? And
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the quality of the dance it'll just grow from here, right? Like we're just realizing that there's going to be more opportunities coming from this.
Yeah, fantastic. Lee and Joseph, this has been really terrific. All the best on the show, The Remix, on the 28th. That happens at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. at PTE's Cherry Karpyshin Theater. I hope it's a big success, both shows. Thanks so much for taking the time to stop by and talk to me today.
Thank you for having us.
For our Classic 107 listeners, The Remix, as presented by the Rise Musical Theater Company, takes place on Saturday, June 28th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. at PTE's Cherry Karpyshin Theater. For more details, visit pte.mb.ca or go to classic107.com. I have embedded a direct link to the show page in the article about the show that you can find that's up there now. Lee and Joseph, thanks again.
Thank you.